The recruitment hall of the Galactic Defense Force buzzed with nervous energy as beings from dozens of worlds gathered for the infamous physical trials. Sergeant Vextar, a towering Gorlaxian with 4 arms and crystalline exoskeleton, surveyed the crowd with practiced indifference. In his 3 centuries of service, he had seen every species attempt these trials, and the results rarely surprised him anymore. That was until he spotted the human. The creature was unremarkable by galactic standards. Bipedal, soft-skinned, standing barely 2 meters tall. What caught Vextar's attention wasn't the human's appearance, but rather the casual way he stretched his limbs while other recruits whispered nervously among themselves. Most species required weeks of preparation before attempting the trials. This human had apparently walked in off the street. "Attention, recruits!" Vexatar's voice boomed across the chamber. "Today, you will face the gravity chamber trials. Standard. Protocol begins at your homeworld's gravity and increases incrementally. Failure to complete 3 consecutive challenges results in immediate disqualification." The first group consisted of the usual suspects: Zentarans from a low-gravity moon, aquatic Beltharians, and a few silicon-based rocklings. They performed adequately under standard conditions, but began struggling as gravity increased beyond their comfort zones. The Zentarans tapped out at 1.3 times standard gravity, their delicate bone structure unable to cope. Then came the human's turn. "State your name and homeworld," Vextar commanded, consulting his datapad. "Marcus Chen, Earth," the human replied with an easy smile. "Standard gravity there is about 9.8 meters per second squared, if that helps." Vexatar's secondary eyes blinked in surprise. Earth was classified as a high-gravity death world in the Galactic database. Few species could survive there, let alone evolve. "Very well. We'll begin at Earth standard gravity." As the chamber's artificial gravity generators hummed to life, Vextar watched the human's reaction carefully. Most recruits showed some sign of strain when experiencing their homeworld's gravity after traveling in standardized ship conditions. Marcus simply rolled his shoulders and began some light calisthenics. "Ready when you are, Sergeant," Marcus called out cheerfully. The first trial was simple, an obstacle course featuring basic jumps, crawls, and carries. Marcus completed it with fluid efficiency, his movements economical and precise. Vextar noted the human's unusual gait. He seemed to bounce slightly with each step, as if the gravity was lighter than expected. "Increasing to 1.2 Earth gravity," Vextar announced. The second trial involved combat simulations against holographic opponents. As gravity increased, Marcus's movements became more grounded, more deliberate. But his performance didn't diminish. If anything, he seemed more focused. His strikes carried devastating force, and he moved through defensive positions with impressive stability. At 1.5 Earth gravity, other species would have been struggling to remain upright. Marcus was grinning. "This is interesting," he remarked during the brief rest period. "Kinda reminds me of training back home." Vextar's mandibles clicked in. Confusion. "Training? What manner of training requires increased gravity?" "Oh, you know, weighted vests, underwater exercises, high-altitude conditioning. Some of our athletes train under twice normal gravity to improve performance." Marcus spoke as if this was perfectly ordinary. "My grandfather was a Navy SEAL. He used to say humans don't know their limits until they're pushed past them." The trials continued. At 1.8 Earth gravity, Marcus completed a complex engineering task involving precise manipulation of components weighing several times their normal mass. His hands remained steady despite the crushing force trying to drag them down. At 2.0 Earth gravity, double the force that would have pulverized most galactic species, Marcus finished the endurance trial. He was breathing hard, but still standing. Still alert, still smiling that infuriating human smile. Vextar stared at his readings in disbelief. The human's bone density, muscle mass, and cardiovascular efficiency were off the charts. But more than his physical capabilities, it was his attitude that confounded the sergeant. Where other species showed fear or desperation under such conditions, Marcus displayed something Vextar had rarely encountered: excitement. "Sergeant," Marcus said, wiping sweat from his brow, "this has been great and all, but I'm just getting warmed up. Any chance we could push it a bit further?" The recruitment hall fell silent. Even the medical technicians stopped their chatter to stare. No recruit in recorded history had ever requested additional gravity. Vextar's training protocols didn't account for this scenario. The maximum safe limit for the trials was 2.2 Earth, gravity reserved only for the most extreme circumstances. No one had ever reached it, let alone requested to exceed it. "Human Chen," Vextar said slowly, "are you suggesting that 2.0 Earth gravity is insufficient?" Marcus's grin widened. "Look, I appreciate the workout, but back home we've got mountains that'll put more stress on your body just from the climb. I once hauled a wounded teammate 15 kilometers through terrain that would make this gravity chamber look like a aoi gentle massage." He paused, then added with characteristic human audacity, "Make it triple. Triple. 3 times Earth gravity." The number hung in the air like a challenge to the very laws of physics. Vextar found himself in uncharted territory. His protocols screamed warnings about liability and safety regulations. But curiosity, a dangerous trait in any military instructor, won out. "Very well," he heard himself saying. "But we stop at the first sign of distress." As the gravity generators spooled up to 3.0 Earth gravity, Vextar watched in fascination and growing respect. The human's movements became more deliberate, his breathing deeper, but he continued functioning. Not just surviving, functioning. Marcus completed the final trial, a tactical assessment requiring rapid decision-making under extreme physical stress with methodical precision. When he finally stood at attention, having spent 10 minutes operating under crushing gravitational force, the entire recruitment hall erupted in stunned silence. "Sir," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the exertion, "when do I ship out?" Later, as Vextar filed his report, he found himself struggling with the classification codes. How did one categorize a species that considered crushing gravity a warm-up exercise? How did one explain to Galactic Command that humans didn't just survive in impossible conditions, they thrived in them? He settled on a simple notation that would echo through military academies for generations. Human recruit demonstrates standard species performance under extreme conditions. Recommend immediate deployment to highest intensity assignments. Note, consider revising maximum trial parameters for human applicants. The galaxy, Vextar realized, was about to learn what Earth had known for millennia. Humans weren't built for comfort. They were built for everything else.